The BetCanada channel. This is your host, Jeff Lloyd, and we are going to talk about whether or not last year's miraculous run by the Washington Commanders is a mirage or was it the reality? Washington last year made a great selection in quarterback Jaden Daniels. And one of the biggest misconceptions in the NFL is that drafting the quarterback with the talent will often lead to success. You have to have everything in place. Normally, you get teams who are drafting high, one, two, three overall in the draft, and they are a team who obviously was poor the season before. All of a sudden, you may have coaches whose job security isn't necessarily there. Look at the Chicago Bears. The Washington Commanders, it was an entirely new staff led by head coach Dan Quinn. They brought in Jaden Daniels. They were committed to him. They were committed to his success, his growth, and Daniels paid them back handsomely. Completion percentage of 69 overall. 25 touchdown passes to 9 interceptions. He had almost 900 yards on the ground and really took off when it mattered in the 2024 NFL playoffs before getting into the NFC Championship game in Philadelphia against the Eagles and having it run a little bit dry on them. Now, with Daniels and the way it went last year in the 2024 season, I had high expectations with such a great running back class in the draft that the Commanders, even though they ran the ball for over 5 yards per carry in the 2024 season, they would go out and get that big headline name running back that would allow Daniels, while on his rookie contract, to have this offense excel. Washington went another route. Jaden Daniels was sacked 47 times in the 2024 season. So as opposed to going hard on the skill talent around Jaden Daniels, they went hard around the bookend offensive tackles to support him. Made a trade with the Houston Texans, brought in longtime veteran and solid performer Laramie Tunsil to handle the left side. With their first round selection, they took Oregon offensive tackle Josh Connerly, a guy who grew as the draft process went on. They did get a little help at the skill position with a trade for Debo Samuel from the San Francisco 49ers. They also drafted one of the more athletic and fast wide receivers in the draft in Jalen Lane out of Virginia Tech University. Now, while Debo could be an asset in the running game and in the passing game, Debo Samuel, the little bit we have seen to this point with Washington, it looks a little bit like some of the same issues that maybe were coming up towards the end of his run with San Francisco. Debo Samuel is now a bigger player than he was in his prime in San Francisco. And if he can work on getting that weight back down, it's been injuries, it's been rehab. It's hard for Debo Samuel to have been completely committed to his conditioning, his weightlifting, all of that. But for Washington to get the best return of this investment from Debo Samuel, they need to have him be more of the performer that he was with San Francisco, whether it was slip screens, whether it was smoke routes, whether it was end arounds, whether it was just taking the ball out of the backfield, which he did so many times and proved to be so successful within the San Francisco 49ers offense. They need that in San Francisco, in Washington. They need to get this thing to go to another level. The entire NFC East is going to be better in 2025. Most of the NFC is going to be better in 2025. So, what Washington did in 2024, while it was extremely good, it's going to need to improve. Terry McLaurin, he is certainly in a contract hiatus with Washington. It was always a little difficult with McLaurin when he came into the league. He came into the league as an older player. He's already gotten one extension from Washington. And to be fair, he has probably outplayed the monetary amount of that contract extension he was given. He is the number one wide receiver for the Washington Commanders. There is no questioning that. And for everything to continue and be in harmony the way it was last year, McLaren is going to have to get his. And it works out for Washington. You're getting Daniels and the elite play you got last year on a rookie contract, while McLaurin may get a couple more years and some more money. By the time McLaurin's time is done in Washington, is when Washington will have to now commit a large amount of money to Jaden Daniels. So get Terry McLaurin taken care of. Get him the financial peace of mind that he is looking for right now. This is something that certainly needs to be done for the overall better part of the offense. We just did the Philadelphia Eagles. We're doing the Washington Commanders. Be sure to stick around for the next video in which we will talk about the 2025 prospects for the Dallas Cowboys. Head coach Dan Quinn came in, and one of the things I thought about Washington in 2024 was here was a team you wanted to play early. Dan Quinn is a guy that players rally around. We saw it in Atlanta, we saw it in Dallas. When he went from Dallas to Washington to become the head coach, you saw numerous free agents from the Dallas Cowboys follow Coach Quinn to Washington. One of them, Durance Armstrong, had a really nice year last year in Washington, his first season. This Washington defense, the key, the core, the strength of it is linebackers Frankie Luvo and linebacker Bobby Wagner. Luvo had 8 sacks from an interior linebacker position last year. Certainly had turnovers and caused turnovers as well. Was a guy that really, really shined on defense. Bobby Wagner is just basically death, taxes, and Bobby Wagner. Year in, year out, whatever team he is on, you can count on him being the leading tackler of that team. Now, they had last year rookie nickel cornerback Mike Santrostil out of Michigan put together an incredible year. And when you talk about a nickel cornerback, not all teams are the same, but Washington, their nickel is on the field the entire time. Santrostil really grew as the season went on, became a force for this team in the secondary. You always add secondary help when you are a team looking to compete. And there is no question, of course, that Washington trying to get over that next hump within the NFC was going to need to do that. They drafted Trey Amos. Trey Amos was a cornerback out of Ole Miss that a lot of people liked. Has good size, has good athleticism. His coverage grade while he was down in Oxford was well regarded. Maybe not in line to start right away, but now a second year, and you bring in yet another young, promising secondary piece. So Sandstrill in 24, Trey Amos in 2025. Two additions to the defensive line. Javon Kinlaw, defensive tackle, came over from the Jets, and Kinlaw has never maybe lived up to the lore that many thought he was going to be, but he is still a stout, sound run defender. When you're trying to knock off a team like the Philadelphia Eagles, you need guys who are going to be able to try to slow down Saquon Barkley. That is the role that is envisioned for Javon Kinlaw here with Washington. Dietrich Wise came from New England. They just want to keep elevating the pass rush. Only had 43 sacks last year. It's not a terrible number. And especially considering you have a Jalen Hurts that you're going to have to deal with who's extremely athletic. And then, of course, your run ins with Dak Prescott and whichever quarterback it's going to be in New York, probably starting with Russell Wilson, who doesn't have all of his elite talents anymore, but still has his athleticism. Pass rush is certainly a key and a vital key for Washington because once you become a better team, you're usually going to face teams who are throwing the ball against you more often, as you are usually in the lead and not necessarily trailing when you are one of the top teams in a conference. Now, the growth of Jaden Daniels, I think you will see him get closer to 4,000 passing yards this year. He may not run as much as he did in 2024. Probably, hopefully, doesn't have to. You know, it's rare and it's an oddity. You don't necessarily want your quarterback in the NFL running for a total of 900,000 yards year in, year out. With the injury factor at the position, you get nervous that it becomes sustainable. And when you have a guy like Jaden Daniels, you don't necessarily have a backup who's going to be as good as Jaden Daniels. So if Jaden Daniels is able to use his arm a little bit more in 2025 and his legs a little bit less in 2025, it should have Washington still contending in the NFC East. The Eagles are not easy, but that is the goal for the Commanders. The goal for the Commanders is to knock off the Philadelphia Eagles and become NFC East champions themselves with the hope and the opportunity that the road through the 2025 NFL playoffs will go through Washington. There are two players that would be vital for the Browns to step up, both second-year players. Noah Brown, everybody remembers him last year, was the guy who caught the Hail Mary. Well, he just suffered a serious injury. Wide receiver Luke McCaffrey did some nice things, 24 receptions as a rookie. However, right now, he would be in line to most likely start for this team. So McCaffrey would need a big statistical jump from what he did as a rookie in 2024 to hopefully what he does in 2025. Ben Sinnott was a tight end I loved in the 2024 draft process. He went to Washington. He only caught 5 passes in his rookie year. All the talent in the world. He can block. He's got athleticism, good route runner, good hands catcher. Ben Sinnott and Luke McCaffrey are a key here. If Washington wants to take one more step in the NFC, and look, maybe going from losing the NFC Championship game to winning might not that be easy in year 2, but Washington has a lot of talent, and they are extremely well coached. Jaden Daniels will put his name into MVP conversations, and the Washington Commanders will be a playoff team again in 2025.